My name is Hannah. I'm 26, and one day I opened my banking app and found my emergency fund wiped out. My mother said she borrowed it to fix her roof. A month later, nothing was fixed. If you've ever had family cross a line like that, tell me your story in the comments. The banking app opened the way it always did. Same logo, same loading circle. The number changed. 0. The emergency fund line showed nothing after it. No cents, no pending note. Just a clean, empty figure, as if the money had never been there. A transaction sat beneath it, time-stamped, processed in one motion. $8,000. Completed. The phone stayed in my hand while the rest of the morning kept moving. Keys were still on the counter. Shoes waited by the door. A calendar reminder blinked about a delivery window at work. None of that shifted the number on the screen. The call button filled the display before there was time to rehearse anything. "Hey," my mother said, quick and casual. "What's up?" "The emergency account is empty," I said. "Did you touch it?" A pause followed, short but deliberate. "I borrowed it," Linda replied, "for the roof. I was going to tell you." "How much?" "All of it." The word landed without apology. No build-up, no softening. "When?" "Last month. Don't worry, Hannah. It's temporary." "What company?" Another pause. Background noise moved on her end, a TV or a radio playing something cheerful. "I haven't picked one yet." "The transaction says it cleared in one withdrawal." "I needed it all at once." "For a roof that hasn't been scheduled?" "You're focusing on the wrong part," she said. "The house needed it." A delivery notification buzzed in from my work system. One of the drivers had checked in early. The app asked whether to approve the change. "Do you have a contract?" "I'm getting there." "A start date?" "They're busy this season." "Which company?" "Hannah," Linda said, drawing my name out. "Why are you interrogating me?" The driver notification buzzed again. Still waiting. "I need the details," I said. "You know I wouldn't steal from you." "I didn't say that." "You don't have to act like this is some crisis." The word crisis came out lightly, almost amused, a tone reserved for things that would work themselves out if left alone. "I need the paperwork," I said again. "You're being dramatic," she replied. "The roof matters more than an app number." The line stayed open. No information followed. The TV volume rose slightly as if to fill the gap. A system message chimed from the bank app. "Transaction complete. Funds unavailable." "I'm heading into work," Linda said. "We'll talk later." Work kept its pace. The warehouse schedule didn't care about personal accounts or missing buffers. Trucks arrived when they arrived. Pallets stacked where they were told. My role stayed the same, rerouting delays, approving early check-ins, closing gaps before they turned into losses. The calendar filled, the days moved, the emergency fund did not return. Each week, the banking app sent a polite notice suggesting ways to strengthen financial resilience. The tone stayed neutral, almost encouraging. No mention of where the money had gone, just options. Family filled the gap with commentary. An aunt called one afternoon while a shipment reroute was being approved. "So, when does your mom's roof get fixed?" she asked, casual, as if asking about a dentist appointment. "I don't know," I said. "Oh, I thought it was already happening." Another message came through later from a cousin, this one with a photo attached. A group chat screenshot followed. Someone had mentioned the house, the heat, the urgency of repairs. "Good thing Hannah helped out," the caption read. The words "helped out" carried weight. Not borrowed, not taken, helped. A stop by Linda's place happened on a Saturday between errands. The driveway held the same car. No dumpster blocked the curb, no crew vans nearby. The shingles sat where they had been before. Linda answered the door with a practiced ease. "They haven't started yet," she said before anything was asked. "When are they coming?" They had to push it. "Who?" "The contractor." "Which one?" A hand waved the question away. "Schedules change. You know how it is." The roof stayed unchanged while the explanation kept moving. Weather came up, then permits, then demand. Each reason arrived ready, polished from prior use. "You worry too much," Linda said. "It's handled." Handled meant nothing concrete. No invoice, no timeline, no name. Back at work, Marcus Reed leaned against a loading desk during a lull. He watched a screen update, then glanced over. "You look like you're waiting for a number to change," he said. "Something like that." "Doesn't usually work," Marcus replied. "Numbers don't move unless someone makes them." The comment stayed practical. No advice followed, no judgment offered. Just an observation, dropped and left to settle. Another week passed. The family conversation shifted. The tone hardened. "You're young," someone said over a phone call. "You'll make it back." A different relative added, "It's your mother. This is what family does." The phrasing changed the situation without asking permission. Responsibility slid into expectation. The loan became a duty. The duty became proof of character. At the warehouse, an automated audit flagged a minor discrepancy. A few signatures didn't match. The system froze a batch until clarification arrived. Efficiency halted until accountability showed up in the right format. The irony didn't ask to be noticed. Linda called midweek. "They're still lining things up," she said. "Stop stressing." "Do you have anything in writing?" "Why does it matter?" "Because the money's gone. It's temporary." So was the explanation last time. A sigh came through the line, heavy and theatrical. "You always need control," she said. "That's your problem." The accusation slid past the missing facts and landed on personality instead. A shipping delay required a reroute before the conversation could continue. The call ended without resolution. The warehouse accepted the change and moved on. Another family message followed that night. Someone joked about how the house would be brand new soon. A laughing emoji punctuated the claim. The roof stayed the same. Marcus crossed paths again near the end of a shift. "Still waiting?" he asked. "Yeah." "For someone else to fix it?" "For it to make sense." Marcus nodded once. "Systems don't care about reasons," he said. "They care about names." That line stuck. The drive home passed familiar streets. Linda's place came back into view. Nothing had changed since the last visit. The explanation had evolved. The structure had not. Back at my apartment, the banking app sent another alert. This one suggested setting spending limits and tracking unusual activity. The timing felt precise, almost considerate. The first call went to a roofing company whose trucks I'd seen around town for years. A woman answered with the kind of efficiency that suggested she had already solved 3 problems before picking up. "I'm calling about a roof repair," I said, "for Linda Miller. She should be in your system." Keys clicked on her end. "Address?" I gave it. Another pause. Longer this time. "I don't have anything under that name," she said. "No estimates, no pending jobs." "Could it be under a different date?" "I'm checking the last 6 months." More clicking. Then nothing. "No," she said. "There's no record." A second company picked up after 2 rings. This one sounded distracted, stretched thin. "Roofing department." "Hi, I'm looking for a contract under Linda Miller." "Address?" I repeated it. "Nothing here," the man said. "Are you sure it was us?" "Yes." "Well, it wasn't," he replied, already moving on to the next task. The third call ended faster. The fourth didn't get past voicemail. Between calls, the phone buzzed with unrelated alerts. Work updates, a package delay, a reminder to review spending categories. The app suggested labeling recent transactions for better clarity. The largest withdrawal remained unlabeled. No contract, no estimate, no appointment. The explanation that had floated around the family now had nothing beneath it. Linda didn't get called. That choice stayed deliberate. There was no need to invite another version of the same story. The facts had started arranging themselves without commentary. The pressure shifted anyway. A message from a cousin came through that evening. "You don't have to micromanage everything," it read. "Mom said you're stressing her out." Another followed. "It's just money. You're acting like she stole it." The phrasing changed again. Borrowed had become helped. Helped had turned into entitlement. Now the issue wasn't the missing funds. It was attitude. A relative called the next day. "You always needed things your way," she said. "This is why people don't tell you stuff." The call ended without waiting for a response. At work, Marcus glanced over as another notification landed on my screen. "Still chasing paperwork?" he asked. "Looking for proof something exists." "And?" "No one's heard of it." He nodded once. "Then it doesn't," he said. "At least not to the people who matter." The statement wasn't advice, it was logistics. If a shipment wasn't logged, it didn't count. If a name wasn't attached, responsibility floated. The bank app sent another message that afternoon. This one flagged the withdrawal as unusual activity and offered steps to prevent it next time. The timing felt almost considerate, like a system politely asking why it had been trusted too much. That night, a decision took shape without announcement. A local contractor's website loaded on the phone. Clear contact form, straightforward language, no promises beyond process. The request went out with specifics: roof repair estimate, full scope, legal name required. The email response arrived faster than expected. "Happy to help," it read. "We'll need the property address and owner information to proceed." Linda Miller's name went into the field. The address followed. A box asked who would be responsible for payment. The cursor blinked there for a moment, patient and neutral. Property owner. The form didn't argue. It didn't ask for context. It didn't care about family dynamics. It just needed the right label in the right place. Another confirmation screen appeared. Estimate will be issued to the named party. That line stayed visible longer than the rest. A final checkbox required agreement to standard terms. One click handled it. The submission confirmation landed with a timestamp. The system thanked me for my request and promised follow-up within 2 business days. Dinner cooled on the counter while the phone stayed nearby. Messages from family continued, now softer, more suggestive. "You should let this go." She did her best. "You're making things harder than they need to be." The contractor sent a follow-up email asking for access availability. A time window was selected and confirmed. The banking app chimed again, this time suggesting setting up alerts for large withdrawals. The recommendation came with a small checkmark, as if proud of itself. The phone slid back into a pocket. Shoes went on. Keys followed. The evening moved forward without ceremony. An estimate was on its way. The name attached to it was correct. Everything else could wait until it arrived. The estimate arrived during a lunch break. Not a dramatic entrance, just an email with a subject line that read, "Roof Repair Proposal, Linda Miller." Straightforward. Neutral. The attachment opened without ceremony. Line items stacked neatly. Labor, materials, timeline. At the top, the name was printed in full. Below it, the address matched the one everyone already knew by heart. A note sat near the bottom, framed like a courtesy. Outstanding balance to be settled prior to scheduling, $8,000. The system didn't underline it, didn't bold it. It simply placed the number where numbers go. Another message followed an hour later, this one automated. "Thank you for your interest. Please review and respond within 5 business days to avoid expiration." Expiration sounded clinical. Milk cartons expired. Offers expired. So did patience, apparently. The phone rang before the afternoon shift wrapped up. Linda's name filled the screen. The call came through loud enough to draw a glance from a nearby supervisor. "What did you do?" she said the second the line connected. "What did you get?" "A bill," she snapped. "A contractor sent me a bill." "An estimate," I said, "with your name on it. They think I owe them money." "That's what it says." Her breathing sharpened. "You set me up," Linda said. "You never said you were doing this." "I asked for details," I replied. "You didn't have any." "That doesn't mean you can do this." The word "this" carried weight now. A few days ago it had been harmless, temporary, family business. "They're asking for payment," she continued. "They're calling it overdue." "The note says outstanding," I said. "Overdue comes later." A pause followed. Not the kind used for thinking, the kind used for recalculating. "This is humiliating," she said. "Do you know how this looks?" "To who?" "To everyone." The call dropped for a moment. When it came back, her tone had shifted, softer, strained. "You could have just trusted me," Linda said. "Why are you doing this to your own mother?" A notification popped up mid-sentence. The contractor had sent a follow-up. "Please confirm acceptance or decline. No response may result in cancellation." The timing felt deliberate, though it wasn't. Systems don't plan irony. They just deliver it. "I didn't accept anything for you," I said. "I asked for an estimate." "They put my name on it." "You own the house. That doesn't mean you can involve me like this." Another email arrived. This one outlined payment options: online portal, check by mail, financing available upon approval. Linda raised her voice. "You're making me look irresponsible." "The invoice says nothing about responsibility," I said, "just payment." Silence stretched long enough to hear her thinking. When she spoke again, the words came faster. "I needed that money. You don't understand what things are like for me." "You said it was for the roof." "It was." "Then the invoice matches." "That's not fair." Fairness hadn't been part of the form. The call ended abruptly. No goodbye, no agreement, just a disconnect. Another message followed from the contractor, this one marked as a reminder. "Please note, scheduling cannot proceed without confirmation." The system didn't care who pressed send. It addressed the name it had been given. Linda called back within the hour. "Call them," she said. "Tell them it was a mistake." "You're the one on the invoice. You started it. You needed a contractor. That doesn't mean I agreed to this. You said the roof needed repair." A sigh cut through the line, heavy and deliberate. "You always do this," she said. "You make things complicated." The phrase had worked before. It carried history. It implied excess, control. The problem was tone, not action. "Payment is due," I said. "That's the only complication I see." Another email arrived while the call stayed open. "Final notice prior to expiration." The subject line didn't blink. Linda's voice dropped. "I can't pay this," she said. "Then you'll need to talk to them." "You're supposed to help." "I already did." "With money." "With process," I replied. The distinction landed hard. Family messages started appearing not long after. Questions, screenshots. Someone had heard Linda was having an issue with a contractor. The story bent quickly. "She's under a lot of stress. You could fix this. Why are you pushing it?" The contractor sent a calendar link. Available windows filled the page. Empty slots waited patiently. Another notification chimed from the bank app. "Large transaction alerts active." It felt like applause from the wrong corner. Linda called again that night. "They said if I don't respond, it goes to collections," she said. "Is that what you want?" "I want the roof fixed," I replied, "or the money returned." "That's not the same thing." "It was when you took it." Her voice rose, then cracked. "You're doing this on purpose." "I'm letting the system do it." Silence followed. Not the performative kind. The kind that shows up when options run out. The phone lowered onto the counter. Another email landed, this one confirming receipt of no response. "Estimate pending expiration." Dinner cooled nearby. Messages stacked up. The calendar reminder for the contractor's site visit blinked, still unconfirmed. A finger hovered over the screen, not to cancel, not to explain, but to lock the phone and let the timer keep running. The reminder came first thing Monday. Not from my mother, from the contractor. "Payment window approaching. Please advise who will be responsible." The message didn't accuse. It didn't negotiate. It asked a single question and waited. By noon, the family knew. Not the details, just the outline. Linda was dealing with paperwork. A few people framed it as a misunderstanding. Others called it stress. The word problem floated around without a subject. Linda showed up that evening without calling ahead. No apology came with her, no pause either. "You could have handled this differently," she said, stepping past the doorway as if the conversation had already been agreed to. "I raised you better than this." "What would you like to handle?" I asked. She didn't answer. Instead, A list appeared, years compressed into minutes. I worked 2 jobs. I skipped things so you wouldn't have to. I never asked you for much. The statement sounded practiced, like a receipt read aloud without totals. You always had what you needed, she continued. Now I need help, and you're turning it into a legal mess. The invoice is yours, I said. Her face tightened. You're hiding behind paperwork. Paperwork has names, I replied. She paced the room, building speed. Family doesn't do this to each other. Family doesn't embarrass each other. Family doesn't take money without asking, I said. That line stopped her for a half a second. Then the story adjusted. I said I borrowed it. You said it was for the roof. It was. Then the bill fits. Her voice rose. You think you're smarter than me because you work with systems. I think systems don't care who raised me. She laughed once, sharp, short. You've always been like this, she said. Cold. Everything has to be exact. The word exact landed heavier than cold ever had. It meant there would be no room for feelings to fix this. A phone buzzed on the table. The contractor again. Please confirm payment method. The timing felt personal, even though it wasn't. Linda saw the notification. Tell them it's on hold, she said. I can't, I replied. Why not? They didn't ask me. The shift came then, from argument to emotion, from explanation to accusation. You're choosing strangers over your own mother. They're not asking for trust, I said. They're asking for payment. She pressed a hand to her chest. I can't sleep. This is making me sick. Another message landed. This one offered financing options, a link, a cheerful tone. Linda glanced at the screen. They make it sound so easy, she said, like people don't have lives. They make it sound scheduled, I said. Her voice dropped. You could end this. One call. Yes, I said. You could. The contractor sent a follow-up. Please note, lack of response may result in escalation. Escalation didn't specify where. It didn't need to. Family texts started arriving, not at once, one by one. Can't you just cover it for now? She's your mom. You're letting this get out of hand. The phrase out of hand suggested chaos. What I saw was order forming without permission. Linda leaned closer. You've always been the one who could handle things, she said. That's why I came to you. The words explained more than she meant to. The contractor called next, a man with a steady voice. We need to know who's paying, he said. Otherwise we close the file. Linda owns the property, I said. Understood, he replied. We'll continue with her as the responsible party. The call ended. No negotiation attempted. No sympathy offered. Linda stared. You didn't even try, she said. I answered the question. She sat down then, the fight draining out of her posture. I never asked you to be like this, she said. You never asked, I replied. Another message arrived. Final reminder before expiration. The system counted days, not feelings. Linda stood up again. If this goes any further, she said, don't expect me to forget it. I don't expect anything, I said. She left without slamming the door. The quiet afterward felt earned, not empty. Later that night, Marcus texted. You okay? Busy, I replied. Same, he wrote back. Systems hate delays. The contractor sent one more email before midnight. Please advise. The phone rested on the table. The screen stayed lit. The question waited. If the action got reversed now, the pattern would reset. Another emergency, another explanation, another time where being capable meant being chosen. A hand hovered, then moved, not to cancel, not to explain, but to let the message sit unanswered and allow the clock to keep doing what clocks do. The contractor called the next morning, not to argue, not to negotiate, just to confirm what already existed. Responsibility stays with the property owner, the man said. Invoice, estimate, follow-ups, everything is addressed to Linda Miller. "So nothing comes back to me," I said. "Not unless your name's on the paperwork," he replied. "It isn't." The answer landed cleanly. No drama, no gray area. A system stating what it recognized and what it didn't. That afternoon, Linda tried a different approach. A text came first. "I have messages that show you knew about the money." Another followed seconds later. "You didn't object at the time." The wording shifted again, from roof to consent, from necessity to agreement. A call came through before there was time to respond. "You said I could borrow it," she said, skipping hello. "I asked what it was for," I replied. "That's not a no." "It's not a yes." "You didn't stop me." "That's not permission." Her voice sharpened. "You always twist things." "No," I said. "You just never wrote them down." She hung up. By evening, an email arrived from her personal account, screenshots attached, a thread of old messages clipped tight around a few lines. "Need help with the house?" "Okay." No dates, no amounts, no mention of roofs or $8,000. The implication sat there, bold, without context. A reply followed. "This proves you agreed." The contractor sent an automated update at the same time. "Account remains pending, no payment received." The contrast felt surgical. Linda tried again the next day, this time with a suggestion. "We can tell them we're both responsible," she said. "Split it." "There's nothing to split," I replied. "The invoice has one name." "They don't need to know that." "They already do." Another pause, another recalculation. "You'd really let this go that far?" she asked. "I'm not taking it anywhere," I said. "I'm not moving it at all." The bank app sent a notification during the call. "Unrecognized device access attempt detected." The alert wasn't about her. The timing still felt pointed. She lowered her voice. "You're enjoying this." "I'm letting it finish." Family pressure adjusted its angle. A relative suggested mediation. Another asked if I'd talk to a lawyer. The assumption crept in that escalation meant intention. At work, Marcus caught the tail end of a call and waited until it ended. "She trying to loop you in?" he asked. "Yes." He nodded once. "Helping is voluntary," he said. "Liability isn't." The statement stayed brief, useful, the way warehouse rules were useful. If a shipment was mislabeled, it didn't matter who packed it. The record decided. Another email arrived from the contractor, this one marked official. Notice of obligation. It outlined the next steps with polite precision. Payment required. Timeline attached. Consequences listed without emphasis. Linda called immediately after. "They're saying it's legally mine," she said. "That's what the paperwork says." "They're threatening collections." "They're explaining process." Her breath hitched. "You could stop this." "I didn't start it." "You sent them." "I asked for an estimate." "With my name." "You own the house." The conversation stalled there, out of words that could move anything. She tried one last angle. "I'm your mother." "That doesn't change contracts." Silence followed. Not dramatic, just empty. The official notice arrived by mail 2 days later. She sent a photo of it, shaky and cropped. "They made it formal," her message read. The letterhead looked the same as the email. Clean, unemotional. Another contractor message followed, almost courteous. "Please confirm payment arrangement." The system didn't escalate tone, it escalated certainty. Linda's calls slowed after that. When they came, they lacked direction. No accusations, no strategy, just statements that landed without traction. "I didn't think it would be like this." "It's exactly like this," I said. She didn't argue. The last update arrived near the end of the week. Payment obligation confirmed, account assigned. Assigned sounded final, like a pallet moved from one zone to another. Not dramatic, just placed where it belonged. Dinner sat untouched while the message stayed open. The phone didn't buzz again for a while. No victory felt attached to it. No relief either. Just the sense that something long avoided had finally been labeled correctly. The bank made the first move easy. A verification code arrived, then another. Access logs opened in neat rows, devices, locations, Old permissions that had never been questioned because they'd always been there. One toggle at a time, those links went dark. Primary account access? Removed. Linked accounts? Disconnected. Backup contact? Updated. The system didn't ask why. It only confirmed each change with a brief message. Your settings have been successfully updated. The tone felt congratulatory in a way no one else had managed. A new password replaced the old one, then another for savings. Two-factor authentication switched from optional to mandatory. The app suggested a security checkup and thanked me for taking financial safety seriously. The timing bordered on sarcasm. At work, the contractor called to confirm the shift in communication. "We'll be dealing directly with Linda Miller from here on," the man said. "No further action needed from you." "Understood," I replied. "That simplifies things." It did, cleanly, without drama. Family messages slowed after that. Not stopped, just redirected. Questions no longer landed in my inbox. They found their way to Linda instead. The tone changed once the answers came with paperwork instead of reassurance. "She said she's handling it," one relative texted. Handling meant something different now. No calls came from Linda that week. No late-night explanations. No attempts to soften the situation. The system had taken over the part she used to manage with emotion. A contractor update arrived 3 days later. Payment plan requested. Another followed the next morning. Payment plan approved. The messages read like weather reports, factual, unconcerned with how anyone felt about them. At lunch, Marcus glanced over from his phone. "Looks like you got your evenings back," he said. "Looks that way." He nodded. "Boundaries do that." Linda finally called near the end of the week. The tone had changed again. Not defensive, not angry, flat. "They're charging interest," she said. "That's in the agreement." I didn't read all of it. They usually don't hide it. Silence stretched, then shifted. "You could have warned me." "They sent the same documents to you that they sent to me." "I didn't think it would get this formal." "They do." Another pause. "So that's it?" she asked. "That's the process." No argument followed. No guilt, no appeal. Just the sound of someone running out of options they could move. The contractor sent another notice later that day. First payment received. The confirmation came without emphasis, just a timestamp and a receipt number. A family group chat lit up briefly. "Looks like it's sorted." Good. No one asked how. No one asked why it took this route. The situation had moved past commentary. The bank app chimed again that evening. New savings goal created. It hadn't been. Not intentionally. The system had just noticed patterns adjusting and offered to label them. The suggestion stayed on the screen until dismissed. Linda's calls didn't return after that. When messages came, they stayed brief, logistics only, times, dates, no emotional framing. A follow-up email from the contractor outlined the repair schedule. The roof would finally be fixed. The irony didn't announce itself. It didn't need to. Work continued. Deliveries arrived, delays rerouted, problems solved before they escalated. The same job, different margin for error now that the emergency fund had a lock on it. Marcus passed by near the end of a shift. "Still standing," he said. "Still scheduled." That's better. Another contractor message arrived the following week. Second payment processed. The system didn't cheer. It simply advanced the timeline. Linda sent one final text that night. "They're coming next Tuesday." "Okay," I replied. No follow-up came. The phone went face down on the table. Dinner finished. The evening moved forward without interruptions. Everything that needed to be said had already been recorded. By banks, by contractors, by timestamps that didn't forget or reinterpret. The receipt arrived without comment. Project completed. Balance paid in full. No exclamation points, no follow-up survey. Just a PDF attached and a reference number at the bottom. The contractor closed the loop the same way they'd opened it, cleanly, with dates and totals that matched. Another message followed an hour later. "Thank you for your business. This account is now closed." Closed sounded final in a way conversation never had. Linda didn't call to announce the payment. The information reached me through other channels. A cousin mentioned it in passing, the way people talk about weather that already moved on. She handled it, the text read. Looks like it's done. Handled meant something different now. It meant checks cleared. It meant schedules kept. It didn't mean forgiveness. No apology arrived. None was expected. The silence afterward felt intentional, not awkward. A gap both sides understood. The bank app reflected the change immediately. No outstanding alerts, no unusual activity warnings. The emergency fund sat where it belonged again, rebuilt line by line. Access logs stayed empty, except for my own. A notification chimed. All settings secure. The system seemed satisfied. Work continued without interruption. Trucks rolled in, loads shifted. The same problems showed up every day and left once solved. Nothing dramatic followed the end of the situation, which made it feel complete. Marcus leaned against a desk during a slow hour. Roof done, he asked. Paid, I said. Different milestone. Better one, he nodded. That's how it usually goes. Linda's name came up less often after that. When it did, it stayed factual. No one asked me to smooth anything over. No one suggested reaching out. The family adjusted its expectations once it became clear there would be no reset. A message came through from Linda a week later. Short, informational. They finished yesterday. No response followed on either side. The banking app suggested setting a new savings goal. It labeled it emergency by default. The option stayed on the screen long enough to be noticed, then disappeared when the app refreshed. Nothing about the situation felt like a win. There was no release, no relief, just a return to normal with better locks on the doors. The warehouse closed early that Friday, a rare lull. Schedules aligned, deliveries cleared ahead of time. The walk to the car took the usual route. Same parking lot, same stretch of pavement people crossed every day without thinking about it. Keys came out. The phone stayed in a pocket. No alerts waited. No calls buzzed through. A receipt from the contractor arrived again, this one automated and redundant. For your records. The system liked to be thorough. Dinner plans came together without negotiation. Groceries picked up, food cooked. The evening filled itself without interruptions or explanations. Linda didn't call. The absence didn't sting. It simply existed. The emergency fund balance updated overnight. Round numbers, predictable growth. The account belonged to me alone now, not by declaration, but by design. Another workday ended the same way it always had. Badge scanned, door pushed open. The building emptied at a steady pace. The parking lot lights flickered on as people headed home. Conversations drifted by without attaching to anything important. The car started. Traffic moved. The city carried on. Everything had been settled. Not repaired, not healed. Settled. That was enough. There was nothing left to explain, nothing left to retrieve, and nothing waiting to be taken again.